A gray sky loomed over a small college town in Texas. The rain whispered against the pavement as 23-year-old Mark Davis trudged home, his backpack heavy, not just with books, but with the weight of his debts. His father's passing had left him drowning in bills, and his mother's medical treatments only made things worse. He was smart, hardworking, but broken by life. Then one phone call changed everything. Scene 1, the call, phone rings. Mark Davis speaking. He answered, expecting another collection notice. But the voice on the other end was calm, powerful. Mr. Davis, this is Eleanor Brooks. I'd like to meet with you. It's about your financial situation. Mark frowned. I'm sorry, who are you? I know enough. She interrupted. Meet me at Brooks Bistro, 7 p.m. It's important. And just like that, the call ended. Scene 2, the meeting. That evening, Mark walked into the upscale bistro, still dripping from the rain. At a corner table sat Eleanor Brooks, elegant, silver-haired, radiating wealth and confidence. Mark, she said, gesturing to the chair. Please, sit. He obeyed, confused but curious. She took a sip of tea, then spoke calmly. I know about your debts. The ones your father left behind, I can make them disappear. Mark blinked. How? Eleanor looked him in the eyes. Marry me? Mark froze, thinking he misheard. Excuse me? You heard me. This isn't about romance, she said evenly. It's a business arrangement. You marry me, and I'll pay off everything. In return, you'll be my husband. That's all. Mark laughed nervously. You're serious? Completely, she replied. You're young, unattached, and desperate enough to consider it? Her words cut deep. That night, Mark told his mother everything. She looked weak but hopeful. Son, she whispered, sometimes God sends help in strange ways. Maybe this is your way out. Torn between pride and survival, Mark said yes. Scene 3, the wedding. A week later, in a small courthouse, Mark stood beside Eleanor. No family, no friends, just signatures and vows. When the officiant said, you may kiss the bride, Eleanor smiled faintly and whispered, welcome to your new life, Mr. Davis. As they drove to her massive estate, Mark stared out the window, wondering, had he just saved his family or sold his soul? Scene 4, the mansion. The Brooks estate was enormous, like a museum, marble floors, chandeliers, but cold, lifeless. Eleanor greeted him formally. Dinner is at 7. Don't be late. That night, they sat at opposite ends of a long table. Her tone was polite but distant. When Mark asked about her late husband, her knife froze mid-cut. It was a businessman. Like your father, she said sharply. Not all their deals ended well. Mark didn't understand then, but he would soon. And scene 5, the locked door. Days turned to weeks. The staff avoided him. Whispers followed him in the halls. She chose him for a reason. One maid said, they always find out. Another replied, one night while pacing the library, Mark noticed a small ornate key on Eleanor's desk. Curiosity burned inside him. Later, when the mansion slept, he took it and crept down the dark hallway. The key fit perfectly into one of the locked doors. The room inside was frozen in time. Old photos, letters, and dust-covered furniture. And on the desk, papers. Mark's heart stopped as he read them. Legal documents. A failed business deal between his father and Eleanor's husband, Harold Brooks. One letter said, you ruined us. You killed him. I will make your family pay. Then Mark saw something that made his blood run cold. A marriage license, already signed, dated weeks before he'd even met Eleanor. This wasn't love. It wasn't kindness. It was revenge. And so scene 6, the confrontation. You shouldn't be in here. Came Eleanor's icy voice from behind him. Mark spun around, his face pale. Why did you marry me, Eleanor? Was it to punish me for my father's mistakes? Her expression hardened. Your father destroyed my life. My husband died because of him. I lost everything. You are his legacy, Mark. His debt. Mark's voice shook with anger. You're hurting the wrong person. I had nothing to do with it. Eleanor's lips curved into a bitter smile. Maybe not. But pain demands payment, and now it's yours. She turned and left him trembling in the shadows. And scene 7, the truth unfolds. Mark couldn't take it anymore. He contacted his law school friend Peter secretly. Together they started digging, uncovering Eleanor's recent illegal dealings. Fraud, forged papers, hidden accounts. She's rebuilding her empire, Peter said, and using you as a shield. Mark gathered every piece of evidence, letters, records, proof. The next morning, when Eleanor entered the grand sitting room, Mark was waiting. He faced her with the documents in hand. I know everything, he said firmly. About my father, about Harold, about you. For the first time, Eleanor's face cracked. Her eyes flickered with both anger and pain. You think you can undo what he did to me? She hissed. He stole my husband's future. Mark stepped closer. And you're stealing mine. How many people have to suffer before you're done? There was silence. Then, the sound of tires on gravel. Moments later, police officers entered the room. Eleanor Brooks, you're under arrest for fraud and conspiracy. Eleanor turned slowly to Mark, disbelief and fury mixing in her eyes. You called them? Mark nodded. You left me no choice. As she was led away, she whispered one last thing. Be careful, Mark. Revenge has a way of consuming everyone, even those who escape it. Scene 8, Redemption. Weeks later in the courtroom, Mark watched Eleanor as the judge read her sentence. For the first time, she looked human. Before being taken away, she turned toward him and gave a faint nod, not of anger, but acceptance. Days later, Mark received a letter. It was from Eleanor. Her handwriting was graceful. It was never about money, Mark. It was about closure. I lost myself chasing revenge, and you reminded me what forgiveness looks like. Thank you for breaking the cycle I couldn't. And Eleanor had left him the estate, her final act of peace. Mark sold it, using the money to pay off his mother's treatments and start something new. The Harold Brooks Scholarship Fund for second chances. Hence scene 9, epilogue. 1 year later, a year later, Mark stood before a small crowd at the scholarship ceremony. He spoke with quiet conviction. This fund isn't about wealth. It's about redemption, about turning pain into purpose. He looked up at the clear Texas sky, no longer gray, no longer raining. For the first time, he felt free. In his pocket, he kept Eleanor's final letter. A reminder that forgiveness can heal what revenge never will. Soft emotional music swells. Narrators. Sometimes the people who hurt us the most teach us the greatest lessons. And sometimes even broken hearts can build bridges to peace. Fade out.